Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Today I am sharing super cute little miniature Easter crafts. They are perfect for accent pieces in bathrooms, on your bedside table, windows. I put them on window sills, they're so cute. Of course, tiered trays, shelf sitters, entry tables, anywhere you want to put a little bit of festivity for the season. So here we go. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you hit that button. Oh my gosh, this one is so much fun. This is one of my most clicked on Pinterest pins to this day. It is so cute, and I made it with a cereal box. That's right, we're using the cereal box again. I cut it in the shape of an envelope. It's super simple. I just got a pattern online, but you could probably eye it if you measure. Painted it white, and then I gave it a little bit of a sand around the edges just so it wasn't so furry. And here's the free printable. All you do is go down to my description box. That is located underneath the video. So you click see more. Sometimes it says more. It depends on what device you're on. And a drop down menu will appear. That's where all my free printables are today. And I just used tissue paper. I taped it to cardstock. I put it through the printer, of course, with the side facing up so that the print was on the tissue paper. But you could use a napkin. You could use regular computer paper. It doesn't have to be tissue paper. I just wanted it to be that way. And you could see what I was doing there. I just covered everything up with the paper, and then I connected the two using craft sticks. So I cut down some craft sticks, and the center of it was just a little bit, it wasn't that it was wobbly. It was totally open, but I wanted it to stay open because I knew I was going to fill this envelope. And so for extra support, I put like a beam. It's a little craft stick beam, you guys, in the center. And then I glued a craft stick on the bottom. Now, what I would do different today, because I've had this craft for a while now, is I would put a wider craft stick on the bottom, just so it doesn't tip, or a heavier craft stick, or a heavier piece of wood. Something, I'd either weigh it down, or I'd use the towering tumbling blocks. Lots of options there, but I just filled it with some boxwood. I took this little furniture pen to kind of, distress the edges. I don't even know if it's distressing. I just wanted it to have a border, and we're all done. And it's absolutely adorable. It makes the cutest accent piece. Another Pinterest favorite, and the bunny pattern will be down below. If you don't like it, you could always find one online. Grab another cereal box, cracker box, whatever you want. I chose this light pastel pink fabric here with white polka dots to cover this. I just put some Mod Podge on. With fabric, I do use Mod Podge because, you need to stay on, so it's better if the glue kind of soaks through. You can use regular school glue too, but a wetter glue does work better for that. And I'm turning to the craft sticks again. So I'm going to put 4 of them together, and then I'm going to trace like an angle at the top to make like a rooftop. And I'm just cutting it with regular scissors. And I do end up putting a brace on the bottom right here, which stops the craft sticks from splitting. But at the top, I also put a brace, and that would have been easier than holding it with my fingers. So if you do that, I'm doing it right now. If you make this, put the brace on first and then cut the little triangle. It's easier. So I thought this was just so cute. I'm kind of making like a little nativity house for the Easter bunny. And I came across, my husband was telling me where the Easter bunny is tied in with eggs, because I always thought that was so confusing. The Easter bunny tradition started in German folklore in the 1600s as the Easter hare, not the Easter bunny. And it was a figure said to lay these colorful eggs and hide them in gardens or grass for children to find on Easter morning. But people started associating eggs with the hare because they used to make shallow nests called forms right on the ground next to, or literally right on or overlapping, the nest of ground nesting birds like the lapwings or the plovers. So when people, obviously some of these people were simple in little villages or whatever, they would find this and they'd be like, oh my gosh, the bunny laid the eggs. Anyway, fertility, new life, it all ties in with the Christian resurrection theme. It's just so cute. And I thought I'd share that with you because that's how we tie Easter bunny and eggs into, together. Because bunnies don't obviously lay eggs, but I thought that was a neat story. So I just put a little bow on his neck, and then I used my furniture pen to give the bunny a border. And then we're just going to paint this little nativity house, or this little house where the bunny sits. And we changed it to the Easter bunny, by the way. It was definitely a hare in the beginning. And I glued him in the center, put a little bit of Spanish moss at the bottom, and that was it. And because I use craft sticks, this comes in almost as a free DIY. I love this one, absolutely adorable. Let me know what you think. Here is the inspiration piece. I loved this when I saw this. It is so pretty. You'll see when I make it. This is where I got my inspiration from. It's not identical. They actually use wood for this, but I thought it was so cute. So I ended up taking a Dollar Tree birdhouse and I put some spackling. That's why this should be under spackling hacks, I swear. I thought this has texture. In that picture, because it was real wood, they didn't put spackling on it. It just automatically naturally had texture because the wood was very rough. It was like recycled wood, I think, or repurposed. What is that called? Reclaimed wood. So it already had this texture. So I thought, well, I gotta fake it. So I turned to my trusty dusty spackling and I covered my birdhouse, and then we got this nice texture. So I did paint it because spackling does risk kind of cracking and crumbling off over time, and I didn't want it to fall off the wood. So I gave it a quick coat of white paint, and then I just dry brushed it with a little bit of burnt umber. I start taking different colors of creams and grays. I'm looking at the photo and I'm trying to copy it. And I found if I took a wet sponge and I painted it with gray and then I kind of smeared the paint on purpose, I got a very similar look. And I'm going to do the same thing on the rooftop. I just kind of smear the paint a little bit and I get, I think, pretty close to where that picture was. Now, I will say this levels up these birdhouses from Dollar Tree. So don't walk past these because like I used to think, oh, those are so cheap, but you can level them up. So grab them and craft with them. They really come out cute. And then I took a craft stick and we're just going to cut like the little sign at the top, like what you saw with the original one that said Easter. And I just gave it a little like dry brush on the edges with some, I think it was brown paint. It wasn't wax. And then I put a little bit of white paint in the middle just so that my words would pop a little bit more. And then I decided to go and distress the actual house a little bit with gray paint. Again, I'm looking at the photo. I'm copying. I'm looking at the photo and I'm trying to make my own version. It's my inspiration. And I'm trying to make my own version because I didn't have the tools at the time to cut out wood like that. So this is the closest we got. I put the little sign Easter on the top. I put a little bit of moss at the bottom. And again, this is one of my huge hits on Pinterest. Here's your free printable today. And if you love my free printables, drop me a comment down below and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Now, this is the white part of a flowered napkin and I save everything, so I didn't throw that away. I did Mod Podge some of the eggs with the actual flowered napkin, but this part was the, again, Pinterest favorites. We're doing Pinterest favorites this video because they still to this day get thousands of hits every month. People love them. So I went ahead and I just took watered down Mod Podge and a sponge. I covered a Dollar Tree plastic tray with a little bit of foil and I just went about covering the eggs and I wasn't even careful. I was kind of smashing them and mushing them together on purpose to create texture and wrinkles because I thought that's going to look really pretty. I think when I'm done, if this comes out how I think it's going to, you never know when you start a craft if it's going to come out the way you're envisioning. But with these, obviously, they really, really rocked it. So I was so happy. And after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take the images that I showed you in the very beginning of the video with the bunny faces. I just chose some and I glued them on the center of this. And I'm just kind of pressing those down. It's still wet. And I set everything aside to dry. You can see I covered some of the eggs with the flowered napkin as well. And then the next day, I just took white acrylic paint and I painted very carefully around the bunny image. Now I did this, one, it helps kind of hold it all together and cover that it's paper. Two, the eggs were different colors, right? They're different, purple, green, orange, and it was showing through like different hues and I wanted them all to be white. After that, I took the color Territorial Beige from Apple Barrel Paint and I just very lightly dry brushed these to bring out all of the texture and design. And then I took Burnt Umber, again from Apple Barrel Paint, and I went around the bunny images to give them like a little frame. Oh my gosh, these were so beautiful. And lastly, this really was like the finale. I just took a wood round and glued them on top for a stand, and they are absolutely adorable. Now, this is a fantastic craft hack for anybody who wants to make a bird nest and doesn't have any materials at home to do that. You're out of Spanish moss. You just don't have anything, which I didn't have anything. So I started off just by painting a lid. You can use a lid. I think this was a lid to a mayonnaise jar. I keep so many lids, you guys, I lose track. But just any lid that you think is the right shape or size. I mean, you can make your bird nest however big or small you want, so that's individual. And then I took the hula skirts from the Dollar Tree and I started to spin them and twirl them and create like a soft edge. But if you don't have the hula skirt, you could absolutely do this with foil. You could do it with wax paper. You could even do it with like an old t-shirt that you kind of just cut a thin strip like a ribbon and then twist it, anything to give it form. Back in the day, like literally back in the day, in the 90s, I really wanted a bird nest for Easter, and I did this more or less the same thing. And I used foil and wrapped it around and glued it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't foil. I stand corrected. It was wax paper, and I glued it around. And then I had kept all these long cuttings that my husband had mowed the lawn, right? So there was all this grass, and I had purposely dried it out because I thought I could use that. And I did. And I covered the whole thing and I made a really beautiful nest as I remember. It worked just fine. So that's a really free DIY. So remember that. And of course, I put some of this like grass on top of it that I had, and it wasn't the right color. So I started tapping some paint on it and got really messy. It was actually kind of fun. I felt like a kid again. I got my hands covered in paint and I just started smashing it all together. And then at the bottom of my moss bag, I had these crumbs. And I thought, well, that really would like make this look even better. So just do the edges. And we're all done. And I think it came up so cute. And here's another great hack for those of you that tell me you can't find anything at your Dollar Tree. I know a lot of you have like these small Dollar Trees and they don't carry very much. They just kind of focus on food. So if you can't find things like wooden crates and all these things that we all take for granted, you can absolutely make them with just some craft sticks. And I just took tumbling tower blocks, craft sticks, put the tumbling tower blocks in the corner, glued the craft sticks down, 3 of them, took that beautiful image, which is another free printable for you, did the tissue paper trick again, and printed it on tissue paper, glued it down. You don't have to do that, but I just liked, I wanted it to be transparent. So I used tissue paper, and you can see right there, the Dollar Tree little towering blocks are in the corner. And when you start crafting with craft sticks, you start saving big money. So for those of you that are upset about the price increases at Dollar Tree, this is a way to fight back. You can make your own wooden crates and they're easy to do. This makes a great piece for a bathroom or a desktop, in my opinion. I think it came up so cute. Grab one of these Dollar Tree wooden signs and their carrots and some greenery. And this is also a really easy one, but it's a great accent piece. You just slap some white paint on it. You can leave it wood or stain it if you prefer, but I did white paint. And then I took the top of these cheap carrots out and just replaced it with that greenery. That's why I said just save any kind of greenery that you think might work for the top of your carrots. They definitely look better when you level them up. And then I'm taking a craft stick and I'm just putting some lines in there to make it look more like wood planks. And I'm taking some gray paint and just kind of blending it in to make it look a little hazy and well, like that. I think that looks a lot better than just flat white. It gives it some dimension. And you glue the 3 carrots like a fan. I mean, you can glue them however you want. I just thought they looked kind of cute as a fan. This is a Hobby Lobby dupe. I saw it online and I thought it was so cute. And then of course I put Rabbit Eats Free. I'm just going to glue that sign in the top upper left-hand corner. And that's it. I think it is such a cute sign, again, for a shelf sitter, in a kitchen window, in a bathroom, anywhere you just want a little bit of festive holiday decor, but you don't want to commit in a big way. And of course, they're great for tier trays. I found these colored beads at Dollar Tree, and the little buckets and the little stick-on letters. And of course, you can always paint wooden beads orange if you want. It just happened to be that these are already orange, which made it really convenient. And you're just going to glue them together like that to make, you guessed it, a carrot. I think that is so cute. And then for the top, I just made these little mini green tassels out of green yarn. You could use raffia too if you wanted. And then I let them be kind of crazy at the top. I trimmed them, but I let it kind of fly out all over the place. So it looks like that. And then I glued them on top of the 5 orange beads. I'm making a sign again. This one just says carrots, 25 cents. And I'm wrapping this little bucket up with some burlap. I'm going to glue the sign on the front. And of course, you guessed it, we're going to add some filler. We're going to add the carrots on the inside. And that's it. It was so cute, so simple. Again, great little accent piece for Easter. This was a Hobby Lobby dupe. I think it came up so much better than the actual Hobby Lobby piece I was copying. You're just going to take a square piece of wood there, paint it white. They sell so many different pieces of wood. And this right here, you're not going to believe it, but that is salt dough. Wow. I made just all I did was just roll, they're roses, but I rolled out salt dough into thin strips like ribbon, and then rolled them up and kind of curled the edges and baked them to dry it out. And we had these super cute, almost ceramic-like roses to work with, and I gave them a coat of white paint. Now for this one, I kind of debuted the way that you can make a frame. I took hot glue and just put little lines all around it, and that's going to make our textured frame. It's a super fast, easy, cheap hack, so you don't have to put a frame in it or buy another frame to get your photos to look good. I mean, look at that. Is that not fun? So that was just my first layer of paint right there. And then I start taking different colors of browns. And, you know, again, this is something you would do by eye and you would stop when you're happy with it. But I think I did a dark brown and then a territorial beige brown. And then I did white on top to soften everything up. And that was where we landed right there. And now I'm taking pink and I just put it on a makeup sponge and I'm just tapping it on the tip of these roses to bring them out. And we're going to glue them in the upper left-hand corner of this sign because I just thought that was so cute. And the roses were getting a little lost in the background there. So I did end up taking some darker paint. I believe it was burnt umber from Apple Barrel, and just kind of shadowing here and there to bring out the actual like petals. And this is what we ended up with. And I think it came up so pretty. This one is super fun. You're just going to take and make the entire thing out of craft sticks again. So really budget friendly, super cute accent piece, classic timeless Easter decor. I cut up the length of one to make like a post, I guess. And then I made a faux sign. I wrote Cottontail Farm on it with a permanent marker, and I'm just dry brushing a little bit of white paint over the top. Then I took this furniture pen and I went about distressing just the edges right there with the furniture pen because it was so small. I didn't want to take the paintbrush out. So a brown marker would work too. You don't have to use a furniture pen. And the furniture pen though, it is like a stain, so I just use that for the stick part. And then I just take 2 of the tumbling tower blocks as a stand, and I'm going to glue the sign in between them. And then we're going to cover the bottom with moss and flowers. And this is where it gets fun because you could also use scrap wood for this. You could use rocks from outside and glue the sign in between that, and then glue like moss or dried plants or grass around the bottom. I mean, this really can come in as a free DIY, and it's so cute. This one is a great way to take leftover Valentine's Day decor from the Dollar Tree and turn it into Easter decor or blend the two so you don't have to waste supplies that you've purchased. So I just took white paint, it was white chalk paint, and I painted these. It would be much easier to take them outside and spray paint them, of course, but that's what I had. I think it was raining that day. I'm not a big fan of spray paint, I think it stinks. So I avoid it anyway, but for something like this, I would take it out just for the convenience, but it was raining. Here's your free printables, you guys. Are they not absolutely adorable? It's like Beatrice Potter inspired. I love these. So I just painted them white, and then I did a little bit of the dry brushing around the edge. You can use wax paint, everything, and I took a Q-tip to give these guys a frame to kind of make them pop. And I just glued the imagery on the front of the heart. That's all I did. It was a glue stick too. And then I glued down some of the Dollar Tree lace, some of the Dollar Tree twine, and some of the Dollar Tree foam roses. And that was it. And you can pop these all over your house. Again, kitchen windowsill, next to bigger Easter decor on a mantle, in a bathroom. So cute. I found these Walmart tags. They were on clearance for Valentine's Day right before Easter, so I think I got them for 70 cents, even though it says 98 cents. And here's our free printables. And I'm just going to cut them out and glue them on. Now, if you don't have a tag, don't fret. You can absolutely customize MDF boards from Dollar Tree. You can cut them just by scoring them with a utility knife, and you keep going back and forth, and you just cut them into rectangles. Also, those rectangle square planks you can get at the Dollar Tree, you can do that, cut them at the top. But I literally just take a lace ribbon, some greenery, and I decorate the top of these, and then I glue a towering block behind them to make them stand up. And look at how cute these come out, and they're so easy to do. Gosh, you gotta love the Dollar Tree towering tumble blocks. They are so versatile. So for this one, I just took 3 and glued them together, and then glued those together, and I made 2 sets, and I glued that on top of the other one. And then I chose this print here. I actually created this print. I just wanted something that was very soft and pastel and kind of vintage. And I thought this could, I guess I'm thinking it's like a vintage book cover on a book. So I am going to do little pages on this where I paint the bottom white, and then I just take a pencil and make little faux pages. So you have like the illusion, but again, cute little piece, and you can stick it anywhere, lean it up on anything. Comment down below if you can think of extra places you can use small decor. I know quite a few of you write to me, and recently in fact, and tell me that you had to move into smaller apartments because of the economy and you don't have room to make anything anymore. So don't forget about tiered trays. They're still awesome for that. Love these little tag projects. I do. And by the way, the Walmart jumbo craft sticks are exactly the same size as these tags, and you can punch them with a hole puncher or drill something because they're wafer thin, so you don't need to go and buy the wood tags. But I love the idea. You can even hang these on things, so that's fun too. Especially if you make like an Easter tree, you can make a bunch of these. They're so cute. I did that one year. I just took a branch from outside. I actually, it was on the way back from Vegas, I wanted like a Joshua tree or one that looked like one. I was getting into it, and my husband, bless his heart, was stopping all over, walking in the desert, trying to find the perfect branch for me. I'll never forget it. It was the perfect branch because it had to be balanced on either side with like twigs so you could hang heavy stuff off. And I made salt dough ornaments, eggs, these kind of tags right here. That was pretty self-explanatory, which is why I didn't go over it. You just decorate them, and they make great decor pieces. a fun, inexpensive idea to do with those Easter eggs. So you're going to grab a box that you have, just a spare box. That was like a box that I found around the house. Some Easter eggs, some decorative napkins, and some more Easter eggs. These are at the Dollar Tree. I thought they were cute because they're smaller. And they also have like a little hole at the bottom right there. So they're like just made for skewering. It's easy because it allows them to dry. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to trim off anything that's like rough around the edge because you'll see it. I'm going to glue them together using my glue gun, and then I'm going to decorate them with glue and napkins in different designs. It's going to be really pretty. I did my usual mix of Mod Podge with just a little bit of water because I wanted the napkin to wrinkle. For these, I think it takes the pressure off, and I actually think it kind of looks better if they wrinkle a little bit when you're doing napkins, because it does create like a crackle effect and makes them look vintage. It gives it texture if you want to dry brush them. There's just a lot of options and versatility that you can do if you let the napkins wrinkle just a little bit. You don't have to. And if you don't want them to, I did some other eggs where I used a glue stick, and it works much better to keep the, yes, glue sticks work, keep the wrinkling under control. So this will work with any box, and I still think it's a great hack. You just cover it with craft sticks. I've done it with big boxes like the top of chocolate boxes, like C's Chocolates. And I've done it with small boxes like this, where I just cut down craft sticks. I cover the whole thing, and it's a super fast, cheap, easy way to get a crate if you don't want to build it from scratch, or just a thicker looking wooden box. And that always looks good. I mean, that was like an ugly design right there. It didn't really go with my decor theme. So I thought if I cover it and make it kind of woodsy, and I don't know, rustic maybe a little bit at that time, that, well, even now with fall decor and Easter decor, I still kind of lean in that direction because it's always kind of going back to like the farm, especially fall, like pumpkin patches and stuff. It's almost, I mean, I have seen obviously modern and different kinds of fall decor, and I'm still jury's out because you have that all year round. You have it all year round. I think the only time that you get to be kind of like silly, especially if you have kids or grandkids and go to pumpkin patches and do the whole little farm animal thing, is in fall and maybe Easter. You go around hunting for Easter eggs in spring. So I still like the wood. I love wood. I think it's very pretty. And I just filled in the gaps with some spackling, let it dry, and I'm giving it a coat of white paint, and boom, look at that. We have this cute little wooden box that I totally leveled up from a cheap looking cardboard box to like a pretty nice wooden box. I filled it with some reindeer moss from Dollar Tree. I'm putting little pastel foam eggs. I also love the way those look when you paint them because they get texture. And this was a great display little case. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. It came out beautiful in person. I hope you could see it on camera because in person it was really pretty. Tiny crafts are so fun to make. They are a great way to relax and enjoy the season without too much commitment. If you had fun today, please give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video. It really helps me here on YouTube and helps my channel get seen. And I'll see you in the next one soon.